Los Angeles, California. Downtown Sports Arena, February 12, 1972. Saturday night, 8:30 p.m. The arena is electric, buzzing with whispers and tension. 300 people are crammed into a space built for boxing, but tonight, there are no tickets, no official matches, no scheduled fights. Just a challenge that shouldn't exist. A challenge that could either become legend or vanish into nothing. In the center of the ring stands Muhammad Ali, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. 63, 210 pounds of pure muscle, reflexes faster than lightning. The man who floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee. Who has faced every contender, survived every punch, and conquered the strongest fighters on the planet. Tonight, Ali has thrown down a challenge no one saw coming. He has called out Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, 57, 135 pounds, a martial arts instructor from Hong Kong, making waves in Hollywood with his philosophy and lightning-fast demonstrations. Not a boxer. No heavyweight belts. No Olympic medals. No official combat titles. Yet whispers follow him everywhere. That his speed defies reality. That his strikes are faster than the human eye. That he has mastered something the boxing world can't comprehend. The story began at a Beverly Hills party. Ali, surrounded by celebrities, heard Bruce's name. Someone claimed martial arts could defeat boxing. Ali laughed, not mockingly, but with the confidence of a man who has never lost. "Bring him to me," Ali said, voice cutting through the room. "Let him strike me. Let me see this kung fu everyone raves about. I want block. I want move. One strike, then we'll see if martial arts is real or just a show." Los Angeles, California. Downtown Sports Arena. February 12, 1972. Saturday evening, 8:30 p.m. The city outside was calm, unaware of the storm about to unfold within the walls of this unassuming arena. Inside, the air was thick, almost suffocating, heavy with anticipation. 300 people packed the space, a venue designed for boxing. But tonight it felt like something entirely different, something forbidden, impossible, dangerous. The murmurs started as whispers and then spread like wildfire. A challenge had been issued, one that should not exist. One that might either become legend or disappear forever into the shadows of disbelief. Every spectator felt it. The quiet crackle of tension, the electric hum of expectation. Trainers shifted on their feet, martial arts masters straightened their spines, and journalists clutched notebooks as if their pens could anchor them in the face of what they were about to witness. Hollywood actors and producers, who had heard the rumors, murmured among themselves, curious, skeptical, yet unwilling to turn away. Every eye was drawn toward the center of the ring, the stage for what might be the unthinkable. And there he was, Muhammad Ali, 6 feet 3 inches of sculpted muscle, 210 pounds of pure athletic perfection. His white boxing shorts gleamed under the harsh arena lights, red gloves catching the illumination as if daring it to reflect his dominance. Every line of his body told a story of triumph, of battles fought and victories claimed. Shoulders like boulders, arms thick with power, a chest that had absorbed thousands of punches yet kept beating relentlessly. He was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the man who floated like a butterfly and stung like a bee, who had bested the strongest, toughest, most dangerous fighters in history. He was confident, yes, but tonight even his confidence could not fully mask the electricity that filled the arena. He bounced lightly on his feet, rolling his shoulders, loosening his arms. His grin was wide, playful, teasing the crowd, almost daring them to believe that anything could surprise him. Yet even in his playful arrogance there was a tension beneath the surface, an awareness that tonight would not be like the others. This was not a scheduled fight. There were no tickets, no official bout, no predictable outcome. Something unprecedented was about to unfold. Whispers had traveled fast over the past 3 weeks. Word had spread through martial arts schools, Hollywood studios, and even the underground circles of combat enthusiasts. Muhammad Ali had issued a challenge that no one expected, one that defied logic, one that dared the boundaries of what was considered possible in combat sports. And at the other end of that challenge stood a figure both mysterious and legendary in his own right, Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, 57, 135 pounds, a martial arts instructor from Hong Kong, making waves in Hollywood not for strength or medals, but for speed, philosophy, and demonstrations that seemed almost supernatural. He had never stepped into a professional boxing ring. He had no heavyweight belts, no Olympic titles, no accolades recognized by the Western world. Yet stories followed him like shadow streaks that his speed defied physics, that his strikes were faster than the human eye could track, that he had mastered something entirely beyond the understanding of boxing. And tonight the whispers would converge into reality. Muhammad Ali, the king of the ring, the titan of boxing, had issued the call. The challenge that had once seemed a rumor was now real, tangible, and dangerously imminent. Spectators held their breath, some in awe, others in disbelief. Cameras would not capture this. Reporters would not document every angle. This was raw, unscripted history in the making, an event that could not be repeated. Ali looked around the arena, eyes flicking over the faces, absorbing every glance, every expression. He was the showman, the entertainer, the man who could turn even a training session into legend. And tonight, he was preparing to do exactly that, but against an opponent that no one in the boxing world had ever faced. An opponent whose very existence challenged everything Ali represented. The tension was unbearable. The stakes were unimaginable. The crowd could feel it even if they could not fully comprehend it. And in that charged silence, a name hung over the arena like a promise and a threat. Bruce Lee. The man who could strike like lightning, move like water, and, perhaps, change the world of combat forever. Bruce Lee. The name alone carried weight in whispers, stories, and legends that crisscrossed the martial arts world and Hollywood alike. 57, 135 pounds of lean, explosive muscle, a man whose reputation had begun to rival the very notion of possibility. A martial arts instructor from Hong Kong, he was known not just for speed, but for philosophy, precision, and an almost supernatural understanding of the human body. He had never stepped into a professional boxing ring. He carried no belts, no medals, no official titles that the Western world recognized. And yet wherever he moved, rumors followed like shadows. He could strike faster than the eye could see, move with the fluidity of water, and deliver blows with pinpoint accuracy that seemed impossible. The story of how Bruce became the center of a challenge that would stun the world began quietly at a private party in Beverly Hills. February 1972, a gathering of celebrities, athletes, and socialites who had seen every spectacle Hollywood had to offer. Muhammad Ali, the man whose name alone drew crowds and headlines, was there as always, commanding attention, exuding charisma, laughing, smiling, living in a world where every glance he threw carried magnetism. Somewhere in the crowd, conversation shifted to Bruce Lee. Someone mentioned his name and someone else spoke of his claim that martial arts, the discipline of body and mind, could defeat boxing itself. The words hung in the air. For most it was amusing, a curiosity, a novelty to be laughed off. But Ali did not laugh with disbelief, he laughed with the confidence only a man who had faced and conquered the best could muster. "Bring him to me," Ali said, voice carrying through the room like a drumbeat, impossible to ignore. "Let him hit me. Let me see this kung fu magic everyone talks about. I will stand still. I will not block. I will not move. Just let him hit me with his best shot. Then we will know if kung fu is real or just dancing." The room fell silent. Some guests smiled, others whispered nervously, but no one doubted Ali's sincerity. This was Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time. He had faced the strongest punchers, the fastest boxers, the most dangerous fighters in the world, and he had never lost his confidence. But now, he was inviting the unknown, the unpredictable, the mysterious Bruce Lee into his realm, into his ring, into a test that the world could scarcely imagine. Word spread like wildfire. Martial arts schools in Los Angeles buzzed with excitement, disbelief, and speculation. The Hollywood studios where Bruce was working whispered behind closed doors. Fight fans debated feverishly in gyms and clubs. Could a man who weighed less than half of Ali's body and stood a foot shorter possibly challenge the heavyweight champion of the world? Could one strike, one single strike, prove something beyond the logic of strength and reach? For 2 weeks the rumor became reality, circulating through the media, whispered over telephone lines and printed in newspapers. Ali's camp was deliberate in promoting the spectacle, feeding the anticipation, ensuring that when the time came, the world would notice. Bruce's camp was cautious. They understood the stakes. If Bruce failed, his reputation could be destroyed in an instant. If he refused, whispers of fear would follow him forever. And if he succeeded, he would do something no one thought possible. Then came the phone call. Bruce Lee picked up, calm, measured, deliberate. "I accept," he said simply. His voice was quiet, but there was steel hidden within its calm cadence. "But this is not a fight. This is a demonstration. One strike, that is all." He stands still. "I strike once, then it is finished. No second chances, no rematches. One moment. That is all history needs." The agreement was sealed. The stage was set. The private event would be held at the Downtown Sports Arena, a familiar venue for Ali's training sessions on February 12th, Saturday evening. No cameras, no press, only witnesses from both the martial arts and boxing worlds. Witnesses who could verify what was about to unfold. And in the weeks leading up to it, speculation, tension, and anticipation swelled to a crescendo. Everyone involved knew that this was not merely a test of skill. This was an event designed to challenge the very perception of combat itself. The boxing world waited, skeptical and incredulous. Martial arts masters buzzed with theories, practicing techniques, imagining outcomes, debating strategy. Hollywood insiders whispered, reporters prepared for rumors to become reality, and every corner of Los Angeles seemed to hum with the question that could not be answered. Could a man 75 pounds lighter, smaller, and untested in boxing truly confront the mightiest fighter on earth? And yet, in the midst of this storm of anticipation, Ali's grin remained unchanged. Bruce Lee had accepted the challenge. The world was about to witness the impossible, or so they thought. The night had arrived. Downtown Sports Arena, Los Angeles, February 12, 1972, Saturday evening, 8:30 p.m. The city outside remained oblivious, but inside the arena, the atmosphere was electric-charged with anticipation so thick it seemed to crackle through the air. The spectators, 300 in total, filled every seat, stood along the edges, and peered from the shadows, their eyes reflecting a mix of disbelief, excitement, and trepidation. Tonight was unlike any other. There were no tickets sold, no official announcement, no scheduled bouts. This was a private event, a spectacle whispered about in gyms, studios, and martial arts schools for weeks. And now it was happening. The composition of the audience was as unusual as the event itself. Boxing trainers who had coached champions, men who had felt the force of history inside a ring, were here, murmuring amongst themselves. Martial arts masters who had dedicated decades to their craft exchanged knowing glances, silent calculations of what might unfold. Journalists scribbled furiously, capturing details that could never be reported in full, as the event was meant to be private. And Hollywood figures, actors and producers, drawn by the rumor of the impossible, hovered along the periphery, their faces reflecting awe and skepticism in equal measure. At the center of it all stood Muhammad Ali, the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. 63, 210 pounds of sculpted muscle, a man whose presence alone could command silence. The arena lights glinted off his white boxing shorts and red gloves, illuminating the veins, the sinews, and the confidence that radiated from his body. Ali moved with his usual grace, bouncing lightly, rolling his shoulders, shaking out his arms, and radiating the charm of the showman who could turn any moment into theater. He grinned, looking at the crowd, eyes flashing with both playfulness and the unmistakable awareness of danger. Every inch of him spoke of experience, power, and the confidence of a man who had faced the strongest and emerged undefeated. Yet even as he performed, the tension was palpable. He was about to face someone unknown, someone whose reputation had grown in whispers and legends. Bruce Lee, 57, 135 pounds, a man half Ali's weight, yet full of precision and speed that few had ever witnessed. The size difference was staggering, the reach disparity enormous. Ali's gloved fists were twice the size of Bruce's, and his arms could cover the distance in moments. But Bruce's strength lay elsewhere: speed, technique, precision, and a focus so intense it could render the mightiest opponent vulnerable. The rules were simple, yet the stakes were anything but. One strike, one single, clean, precise strike. Ali would not defend himself, would not move, would not evade. The entire demonstration rested on that one moment. If Bruce failed, his reputation could be shattered in front of witnesses from both worlds. If he succeeded, the impossible would have been proven, and the line between myth and reality blurred forever. The referee, a professional brought in specifically to oversee this unusual event, stepped into the ring, his voice careful but firm. "Gentlemen, do you understand the terms? One strike only. No blocking. No moving. After the strike, it's over." Ali, ever confident, spread his arms wide, letting the gloves hang at his sides. "I am ready," he said, voice ringing through the arena, carrying both challenge and amusement. "Let's see what this little guy can do." Bruce Lee stood a few feet away, calm, composed, his hands relaxed at his sides, eyes fixed on Ali. His breathing was steady, measured, his body a coiled spring of potential energy. He did not respond to Ali's taunt. He did not need to. The moment was precise, measured, and monumental. The arena fell into a hush, the crowd holding its collective breath. Every eye, every heartbeat seemed to slow as the impossible was about to unfold. Every detail of the ring, every shadow, every flicker of light seemed amplified in this private theater of combat. Ali's muscles gleamed, his smile broad, confident, yet beneath it was a faint tension, a subtle awareness that this was no ordinary opponent. The air itself seemed to pause, waiting. The moment had arrived. The private showdown, whispered about for weeks, was finally here. The arena had fallen completely silent. Every spectator, trainer, journalist, and martial arts master held their breath. February 12, 1972, downtown sports arena, Los Angeles. This was the night that would be whispered about for decades. 300 people packed tightly around the ring, their collective tension so thick it could almost be cut with a knife. Every eye was fixed on the center, where the impossible confrontation was about to unfold. Muhammad Ali stood confidently, his red gloves hanging loosely at his sides, shoulders relaxed, chest exposed. He radiated charm, arrogance, and the showmanship that had made him the greatest of all time. Yet even in his confidence, there was the faintest edge of tension because tonight was not a typical match, and his opponent was no ordinary fighter. Bruce Lee, 57, 135 pounds, a man smaller, lighter, and seemingly fragile, stood 3 feet away. His hands were at his sides, his body relaxed, his eyes locked on Ali with a focus so intense it seemed to pierce the air. The seconds stretched, becoming nearly unbearable. The crowd shifted uneasily, some leaning forward, some holding their hands to their mouths. Could this really happen? Could a man half Ali's size possibly do what the world had deemed impossible? The silence was crushing, punctuated only by the faint hum of the arena lights and the subtle shuffle of feet. Then Bruce moved. Not with a wind-up, not with a telegraph strike, just a single step forward, closing the distance. 2 feet separated the martial artist from the champion. Every eye followed, but no one could predict the motion that was about to occur. Ali's grin faded slightly, his eyes narrowing. He sensed something, an understanding passing silently between them. This was no ordinary encounter. Bruce Lee's focus was absolute, unblinking, a coiled energy waiting to be released. And then it happened. The strike. A flicker of movement almost imperceptible. Bruce's right hand shot forward, not swinging wildly, not telegraphed, not dramatic. Precision, speed, and intention combined in a moment that defied belief. The fist traveled from his side, a blur, and connected with Ali's solar plexus, just below the sternum. The impact was not loud, not cinematic in the way fights were portrayed in films. Instead, it was a sharp, surgical snap, a strike so perfectly placed that Ali's body could not respond in any predictable manner. The reaction was instantaneous. Ali's knees buckled. The arms he had confidently spread wide dropped to his sides. His chest, a fortress that had absorbed countless punches from the strongest men alive, spasmed uncontrollably. The nerves in his solar plexus overloaded. He was conscious, aware, but his body had stopped obeying him. One of the greatest fighters in history, reduced to his knees by a single, precise strike from a man 75 pounds lighter. The arena was frozen. 300 witnesses, eyes wide, mouths agape, trying to process what they had just seen. The impossible had occurred. Ali, undefeated, unshakable, now struggled to breathe, to regain control, to understand the magnitude of what had just happened. This was no performance, no trick, no staged moment. This was real. Bruce Lee stood calm, expression unchanged, hands at his sides, waiting. There was no gloating, no celebration. The focus remained, the discipline absolute. The referee rushed forward, kneeling beside Ali. "Champion, can you breathe? Are you okay?" Ali's ragged breath slowly returned. He lifted his head, eyes wide, disbelief etched into every feature. The silence persisted, punctuated only by the shallow inhalations of the man who had faced the world and never faltered until now. And then, for the first time in his professional career, Muhammad Ali had no words. The arena, packed with experts, masters, and spectators, collectively held its breath. The impossible had just become reality. A man smaller, lighter, and untested in boxing had demonstrated a level of skill, precision, and understanding that no one present could deny. History had paused for a single, decisive moment. A strike barely perceptible yet powerful enough to alter perceptions, to challenge belief, and to remind everyone that mastery is not always measured in size, strength, or titles. The crowd remained frozen, some in awe, some in disbelief, some unsure if they had truly witnessed what had just transpired. One thing was certain: this moment would echo through time, becoming legend, debate, and inspiration for generations yet to come. the arena remained suspended in disbelief. 300 witnesses, trainers, martial arts masters, journalists, and Hollywood figures alike struggled to comprehend what they had just seen. Muhammad Ali, the undefeated, unshakable heavyweight champion, had been brought to his knees by a single strike from a man less than half his weight. Whispers erupted, debates ignited, arguments broke out in hushed tones. Was it real? Some asked. Did Ali let him win? Others murmured. Impossible, muttered a few, eyes wide with awe. Every heart in the arena thumped in unison, trying to reconcile logic with the extraordinary reality before them. Ali's body was recovering, his breaths ragged, uneven, as he pushed himself upright. His pride, more than his body, had been challenged. Slowly, deliberately, he looked at Bruce Lee, the man who had just redefined the impossible. There was no gloating, no mockery, only a quiet acknowledgement, a private understanding. In hushed tones, Ali spoke words meant only for Bruce. Nobody will believe this happened, but I know. You hit me. I didn't see it coming, and I will never forget. The statement carried more weight than any public declaration. It was the honest truth, spoken between warriors. Bruce Lee, as enigmatic as ever, did not linger. There were no interviews, no explanations, no opportunity for the world to witness the legend firsthand. He simply walked through the crowd, moving with the calm precision that had become his trademark, and disappeared into the Los Angeles night. The spectators were left stunned, a mix of awe, confusion, and excitement coursing through the arena like electricity. The story would travel far, whispered in gyms, repeated in martial arts schools, and shared in private circles. Mainstream sports media, conditioned to question the impossible, would dismiss it, call it rumor, myth, or exaggeration. Yet those 300 witnesses knew the truth, and Ali himself, in private conversations and quiet moments, would forever remember. Bruce Lee, one strike, undeniable mastery. History had been written not in headlines nor in trophies, but in a single, fleeting moment of precision and skill that transcended size, weight, and expectation. A man half the champion's size had demonstrated that true power lay not in brute force, but in understanding, timing, and precision. The legend of that night would endure, growing with each retelling, forever blurring the line between myth and reality. Bruce Lee had struck, Muhammad Ali had fallen, and the world, even if it could not believe it, had witnessed history.